Hello everybody and welcome back to Cooking with Grandma. Today I'm going to make a recipe that is actually in the YouTube video that I am using. It's a breakfast recipe, but I'm going to turn it into supper. It's by, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Exoying Cuisine, and I apologize to this lady if I pronounce that wrong, but you know, it's as close as I can get it. And it's just called Teach You Lazy Breakfast. But I'm going to add meat into it and turn it into a supper. So the first thing I did, I already prepared these. I grated 3 potatoes. In her video, she only did 1. I'm making a bigger batch because I have a bigger family. So I grated 3 potatoes, and I also peeled 2 tomatoes. Pretty easy to go. You know, you don't have to do the whole boiling water thing. Just get a good sharp knife around there and peel it like an apple. So I'm just going to set those aside, and I also added a teaspoon of salt onto the potatoes, and that will help get some of the water, starchy water out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut up some peppers. She used long green and red peppers. They might have been spicy peppers. I'm not sure. I'm just going to use sweet peppers. But I want to show you this little trick that I just found out, how to peel these, or cut these up rather, without getting the seeds all over. You know, you usually cut the top off, then you pull out the seed pod. You turn it upside down on a cutting board, and you cut all 3 sides, because you can see where the little sections are. You do all 3 sides. Boom! There's your seeds. There's your nice clean pepper. I love it. I saw this on City Line, I believe it was, and she got it from a YouTube video, or sorry, a TikTok video. So there, just cut down all 3 sides. This is amazing. This is the best trick I've ever learned, because it's so much neater. And there, you take that, this is what you're left with, and you just throw that in your compost or your garbage. So there. So we're going to take these peppers and chop them up. Again, they might have been sweet peppers, but long peppers. I'm not sure. This is what I have, so I'm going to use sweet peppers. When you make this recipe, go ahead and use hot peppers if you like, you know, the spicy ones. Like, there's only 2 of us in the family that like spicy things, so I'm not going to make a whole casserole type thing and then have to, you know, leave out a little bit of it for this person that likes spice. They can have that some other way. So we're going to chop that. Quick and easy, right? And then it's so cleaned out already. You know, you wash your peppers when you bring them from the store, and then you do this, and how quick is this? And it's so much less cleanup. I'm just going to give this a quick chop. You know, cut them in strips and then turn them and cut them in chunks. They don't have to be too small. You don't want them like big pieces, but you know, they don't have to be really small. So we're going to do this, and then we have to chop up an onion. Most unfavorite thing to do. I don't have any wooden matches because there's a trick, and it works pretty good. It was on the movie called, I believe it was called The Help. It was kind of the movie that showed how black people were like servants and maids and stuff, and you know how badly they were treated. And she used a wood match when she held it in her teeth when she was cutting the onions, and it does work pretty good. I've heard that also if you have a really super sharp knife, that it helps, because then it doesn't release all the juices, and the juices in the onion releasing, that's what stings your eyes. So I've got a pretty good sharp knife. I just got a new one. So it's not too bad. Either that or this is just not a very strong onion, because it's not too horrible. Get this all chopped up. It doesn't take much. Just, you know, roughly chop it. It doesn't have to be real big. I wouldn't want big chunks of onion. It's going to bake, so they're going to cook down a bit. So after you chop the onion, okay, I believe I have to chop the tomatoes. Okay, we're going to put the onions. Yeah, I have to chop the tomatoes. Kind of looking at the video as I'm doing it here, because I'm going to put the onions and the onions and the pepper in a bowl. Then I'm going to chop up the tomatoes and add that. I'm not sure if I'd want to eat this as breakfast because with all the potatoes and everything in it, and it's got like a flour to make it almost like cakey consistency. I'm not sure if I'd want that for breakfast. You know, give me a bowl of Cheerios or a couple of scrambled eggs. I'm good. You know, I don't want anything real heavy. But that's okay because, like I said, I am adding meat. I even left her a comment saying that if you add some pork or some chicken, you've got dinner. So we're going to put this into the bowl. Okay, so in the bowl we've got the peppers, the onion, and the tomatoes. And I'm just going to grab my spoon. I'm going to give that a bit of a stir. Okay, and now to this we add 3 eggs. I guess this is your breakfast part here, right? There's your breakfast part. Put 3 eggs and some salt and pepper. My little Leo kitty cat Biddy, I'm not making anything for you. Every time I come out here to cook something, he's, we're going to add about a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. He's rubbing up against my leg, meowing, thinking, come on, feed me. But I know he's already been fed for breakfast, so. Okay, we're going to give this a good mix. There we go, that's all incorporated pretty good. You want the eggs all to be, you know, mixed in. You don't want any globs of egg. Okay, and now we're going to add the potatoes. So I'm going to take the potatoes and pick them up and just squeeze. You see the water that comes out of them? When you add the salt, it draws all the water and the starch out of the potatoes. I'm going to squeeze out the water and put the potatoes in the mixture here. There we are, and you give that a stir. Mix the potatoes in. And now we need, let me get my oil, I forgot the oil. Okay, so that's all mixed in. So the next thing we have to do is add 1/4 of a cup of oil, cooking oil, and 3/4 of a cup of milk. Put that in, and flour and baking powder. Okay, now we're going to add 2 cups of flour. Well, I got the wrong measuring cup. 1 second. Okay. So 2 cups of flour. This is going to make like a crust that goes on top of it. 1 cup. Oh, sugar. I wanted to add my chicken before I added the flour, so I'm going to set this aside because it doesn't actually call for any meat. I want to do it before I add the flour. So I just cut up 2 chicken breasts in chunks, little bite-sized chunks, and I'm going to put that in there. This is going to make a complete meal rather than just breakfast. So now we're going to put 2 cups just of the flour, and then you want a teaspoon of baking powder. It's going to help it rise a little bit. We're just going to mix all this in. It looks kind of like icky right now, like just all globby, but you know, it's going to bake and it's going to look nice. It's going to have like a dough, a crust formed all around it. Mix this all when these nice big mixing bowls come in handy when you're making extra. She doesn't give the amounts. She just says grate potato, and it showed her cutting. It showed her peeling 2 tomatoes. So you know, I'll put the recipe in the description box the way I made it, so you can, you know, add to it or subtract from it depending on how big of a recipe you want to make. Okay, so now we're going to put it in, mix that all in, and I'm going to just grease the pan. I am out of parchment paper, so I am going to just butter a pan. You want a 9 by 12 pan. Right in here. I might need 2 because maybe not. Thought I was going to need 2 because I've kind of doubled up what she said and added the chicken, and that makes it more to it. There we go. Kind of looks like all the ingredients in pancake dough, you know, pancake batter with the flour and the baking powder and the eggs and the milk. That's kind of like pancake batter, so maybe that's where they're getting it as a breakfast. I mean, this recipe is from a Chinese website, so you know they might eat this kind of things for breakfast, and that's okay. So we're going to try it for supper. Okay. And now that's all in the pan, as you can see. And to this she didn't measure, she just took grated cheese that was already in a bag and put it on top. So I have a brick of cheese here. I'm just going to grate it until it covers the top. I'm figuring it's probably like a cup of cheese. You know, she just sprinkled it on until the top of it was covered. The only trouble, they give you the ingredient list, but they don't say how much of everything to use. I like recipes that tell me exactly how much I need to use for, and then if it serves 4, then I make it double it or whatever, because when I cook for 7 or 8, and it's nice to have sometimes have a little bit of leftover. You can have it for lunch the next day. So there we go. I just took a little chunk of cheese. I'm guessing it's about half a cup that I put in there. So now we're going to put this in the oven and at 350 for 25 minutes. So I will let you know when it comes out of the oven what it looks like. Alrighty, I cooked this for 30 minutes. It wasn't quite done in 25, but I made it, you know, a bit bigger, and I did add chicken, so I want to make sure. Though there it is. Look at how gorgeous that looks. All that melted cheese all over. So I'm going to slice it, you know, try to. Sometimes when you slice these casseroles, when you do it when it's hot, you know, it doesn't always. It's not always cooperating to come out in a nice big serving. So I'm going to slice it, and then I chunked it, cut a square, and I'll put it on the plate to show you. This really looks delicious, and it was so easy to make. It took like 10 minutes of prep time and 30 minutes so in 40 minutes you've got supper. Now again, you can omit the chicken, leave the chicken out, and you know, have it, or pork or whatever you want to put in there, and have it for breakfast just like the way the recipe is. But look at that, doesn't that look good? And it's got the dough all the way around and the cheese, and the chicken is nicely cooked. There, that is what is for dinner tonight. I'll have to think of a title because I can't put a title as lazy breakfast or easy breakfast because I changed it up. You can always alternate. You can always change up recipes. Make it your own. Do whatever you want. So there it is. Enjoy it. Try it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you'd like me to make anything, let me know. I'll get the ingredients I need. Everybody stay safe. I hear we're going to maybe go into lockdown again here in Ontario. We're supposed to go into a 3-week lockdown again. Don't know when it's going to start. But that's what happens when they open up things a little too soon. So everybody stay safe. Stay home if you can. And keep watching the videos. Have a good day now. Bye.